because fundamentally, the transition to a clean energy system is one which could be hugely beneficial for customers around the world. Customers in wealthy countries can live in a cleaner urban environment, a quieter one, one without the pollution and the noise that we've all grown up with. And customers in developing countries can actually grow up with access to clean energy reliably and consistently when they've never really had access to energy at all. A great example for me was working with an Indian company on very, very large solar generation. And of course, people in rich countries worry about solar. They say, what do you do when the sun's not shining? But in countries where you've only got intermittent access to dirty energy, well, reliable, predictable access to clean energy that's cheap is a breakthrough. And because it's predictable, you can have solar energy when the sun's shining and charge up a small home battery when it's not. You can live a dramatically better life. But right next to the solar farm, one of the world's, possibly the world's biggest electric scooter factory, those scooters will be charged on clean solar energy and replace the urban pollution that we all associate with sort of those pictures of urban India with clean transport, changing life for the people using it and the people that live there. So if we think about the opportunities offered by the energy transition, and I haven't yet talked about climate change, by the way, actually the energy transition, moving to clean, cheap, renewable energy is a huge opportunity for citizens around the world to enjoy a better life. And I think it really speaks to perhaps a mistake made by during the first phase of the transition, which is the transition has been done to customers, not with them or for them. So, in the UK, we saw enormous campaigns against wind farms because what were people getting? They were getting a local beauty spot, the beautiful ridge, spoiled by these great metal contraptions, and in return, people getting a new line on the energy bill to pay for something they didn't necessarily believe was going to happen, and it probably wasn't going to happen to them, and it wasn't going to happen in their lifetime. That was the way they saw it. And just one example, something Octopus have done recently, the Octopus Energy Fan Club, where people live near one of our turbines. If they can see the turbine turning, they get half-price electricity. Suddenly, we've had over 1,000 communities have asked for wind turbines, right? Now, actually, with hindsight, it's kind of a case of, not really a surprise. But I think what we need to do as we go through the energy revolution now is be putting the customer, the citizen, the voter, at the very heart of it. Because then, instead of trying to push water uphill, we'll be following water downhill. Quite literally in the case of hydro. So I guess for me, customers at the heart of the revolution are the great opportunity. And the final bit, I guess, is that, look, for businesses, times of change are threatening. So much of the things we think of as our assets may be less valuable. But actually, if we think of our assets as the customers with whom we've built trusted relationships, the governments with whom we've built trusted relationships, and the understanding we have of the engineering, the system required to deliver this, well, I think this opportunity is bigger than the internet. That's certainly why we've received the backing you talked about, Nick, and I think it's why everyone here can double down on the transition and be brave, not worried. But the real magic to this is understanding that, first of all, on the other side, we've got two major changes in consumption. An electric car, you talked about getting your family to turn the lights off. Plugging in an electric car is roughly the equivalent of 1,000 light bulbs, right? So we've got this phenomenal change in consumption. And for a lot of people, they could plug their electric car in at midday or midnight. Indeed, it could be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. They'll have it, they've got a huge battery, it'll deliver their needs. And the second thing, of course, we move towards electric heating. Take the UK, but pretty much every country's got their own version of this. There's enormous peak demand between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. So you can slightly overheat at home, half a degree over target temperature by 4 p.m., and then let it coast down to half a degree below by 7 p.m. You'll hardly use any electricity in that time, and yet you've made a massive difference to the system. Electric cars and home heating can be completely automated. And the optimization, take Octopus, I think we sit on 300 billion data points, taking the data from smart meters and how people are using the electricity to match that without them noticing. So in the same way as Uber not only provided this better service that everyone loved, but it was 3 times cheaper than a cab because you're better matching supply and demand through technology. That's what we can do here. But then, of course, back to people who do want to interact with it. My mum is an avid yellow label shopper at Tesco. My mum will go into Tesco and decide what she's going to eat today based on what is priced to clear. On the other hand, when I go shopping, I always buy the same stuff. Right? I know I'm going to have spaghetti bolognese on Wednesday, so I'm buying the mince whether it's half price or not. In exactly the same way, the vast majority of people don't buy the bargain, near used by stuff in the supermarkets. We don't need the vast majority of people to do what your family are doing. If some people react to price signals, if some people change their behavior based upon supply and demand, the system's cheaper for everyone. It reduces competition for electrons at peak times, bringing the price down not only for those that are using off-peak, but for those using at peak as well. And it dramatically reduces our need for infrastructure. There are lots of different ways of measuring it, but you may say a typical grid is 50, 60% utilized. If that was aeroplanes, people would be selling those seats at bargain prices to use the capacity. That's how we can electrify society much more cheaply than people think.